point. This young man here has been doing a brilliant job, I think, of trying to cause this thing to change. And he's got a bunch of the students actually coming down there with us every day at the University of Tennessee. And we're trying to show them how to do this, how to think. So that means that, like she's looking at that book, I need her reading the same books you're reading. Jonathan Livingston Seagull, As a Man Thinketh. And then I need you to translate As a Man Thinks, or As a Man Thinketh, to As a Woman Thinks. As a Woman Thinketh. Change the language and the gender. You know, so we can stop seeing females as dogs. Do I need to say it again? Yes. So we can stop seeing females as dogs. But there's something that has to be done in order to make that happen. We can't just say, I'm changing. I ain't gonna call them dogs no more. That's a lie. That's right. We gotta do some work. And it's gonna take some work. And then it's gonna take some work with these children. We're gonna change this. Don't come to me talking about, well, my child autistic. I don't care. My child too young, can't do this. No, 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 no. You just a lazy dummy and don't want to do anything. Tell me your child got problems. Your child has no problems. The adults are the ones with the problems. And then we're passing them on to our children, and then they'll have children, and they'll have problems. How about we, us, all of us, stop and start looking at this thing in a different way and figuring out there's another way to do this. And then show our children how to do it another way. And then guess what? Everything's going to change because they will change things. It's real simple. So anyway, 5 times 65 is how much? You don't need a pencil. 5 times 65. 5 times 6 is what? 5 times 6 is 30. But since it's in that column, it's automatically 300. And then 5 times what? 25. It's 25. So what was your answer? Bang, right? Now, when I started that, see, he's been working with me for a while. So he immediately, as soon as I asked him the problem, he's learned how to hold the equation. Now, sometimes when you get started, you can't hold the equation at the first until you practice and you do this over a period of time. It takes time to learn how to hold. The reason it takes time to learn how to hold an arithmetic equation is because they're numbers. Numbers are hard to hold. You can't visualize numbers. We think in what? Pictures. Pictures. And no one ever bothers to tell us that we're thinking in pictures. We actually think we're thinking in words. So in fact, if you have not learned the words, I'll bet you're not even thinking. In other words, if you stop thinking in pictures, and you haven't learned the words yet, because you haven't learned the vocabulary, you might not be thinking. I want you to hear what I'm saying. That is not taking anything away from you. What that is saying is someone refused to teach us. Who just got their book? Mrs. You just got your book, right? Yes, sir. Hold up your alphabet book to the letter A. Wait a minute. Don't hold it up yet. Young man, what's your name? Imhotep. Good, Imhotep. What's that mean, by the way? What?
Prince of Peace, the first father of man.
Okay, well, what part is peace?
Hotep.
Hotep. Give me some more words that match Hotep. Just give me some more words that match Hotep. You see, now I know you've been studying. You know, I know you've been studying. Let's see if we've really been doing this right. Hotep is what? Hotep is actually what word? Peace. Well, what word is peace? What number is peace? Yeah, what number? See, I heard what you said. You said Dep. I think you always say Sep, don't you? Sep? Seven. Oh, Hotep must be 7. And 7 must be the number of peace. We're going to figure this out. Matter of fact, I give you another word that matches that same word. Jesus. But I won't pronounce it as Jesus, I'll pronounce it as Jesus. But wait a minute, now let's get Yahweh. No, let's get the Greek word for it. All right? In other words, once you go all the way through this until you trace Jesus back to what word? What? And then there's all kinds of folks running around talking about Tetragrammaton and Hotep in the same breath. And they don't have a clue what they're talking about. But it's cool because you're going to learn it if you're really serious. And once you learn, we're not trying to, you know, fool nobody about this, be critical of anybody. We want everybody to learn. We want our children to learn. We want our children to understand, but understand for real. No nonsense. If we do this right this time, if this young man actually gets those students, the few that are coming, how many students did you bring, Chris?
I supposed to, in the end, I'm probably gonna bring 20.
He was trying to bring 20. How many did you want?
Right now, it's the first week. We got about 8 or 9.
And how many do we have now? From BTW.
From BTW.
We got our own.
Yeah.
Mr. Jones is there.
Yeah.
Mr. Curio is
Yeah.
there. We got our own children coming. You understand? At least right now, we got a few of our kids in. And next year, if we do this right,
Yeah.
we're gonna have all of our kids there. And if we're not there, it don't matter, because if he builds this right, we're gonna be able to have our own facility. Yes, sir.
Dr. Black, can you repeat?
Louder.
Dr. Black, can you repeat 25 times 20?
Can I repeat to him? Yeah, 25 times 25. Are you asking me something?
Yes, sir.
What are you asking? Are you asking me for the answer? I'm not giving it to you. I think you can find the answer for yourself if you do what I asked you to do. 5 times 5 is what? 2 times 2 is what? No, 2 times 2 is what?
2 times. 4.
Plus 2?
8.
No, I don't think so. 6? So then that's your answer. 6 what? 625. Thank you. So now if we do that, and then you go down the whole list. What's the list? 1 to 9 is the list. That's all the integers that there are. There are no more. In other words, if your child just learns to actually deal with 1 to 9, there's no other integers. I don't understand why they got us counting with zeros. Why do you count with zeros? There's nothing there. What you doing? Bothering you with your time. Why are you wasting your time? If you count, let's say 1 times 95, right? Oh, I'm sorry, 3 times 95. 3 times 9 is what? Good. And since we're not counting with zeros, I really said 3 times 90. I asked you 3 times 9 because you thought 3 times 9 is 27, but that's actually 3 times 90. That's 270. But if you don't count with zeros, now guess what? You can actually think. See, because when you count with zeros, you ain't thinking about nothing. And as long as they got you thinking about nothing, you ain't thinking about nothing, you won't get it. All you have to do is start thinking, and when you have thoughts, think about something. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'll give you an example. Don't you remember when they had y'all thinking about black on black crime? You remember that? What's black on black crime? Tell me what black on black crime is.
Black on black crime is when we fight amongst each other.
Is that black on black crime? Well, how about this? Someone out there right now is committing a crime, right? Does the crime have any color? Nope. What if the crime doesn't, because you know why it doesn't have a color? It's what? You hear what she's saying?
I understand that.
She's saying it's an action. Like that is an action, right? What color was that?
What's my color? It was action.
That's what is the action?
He was flipping the coin.
The coin flipping is the action,
Right.
not the coin. In other words, everyone looks at the coin
And instead of the action.
instead of the action. Crime is the action. But no, somebody wanted everybody not to look at the crime and start looking at a group of people.
Yeah. Look at people.
And then all of a sudden labeling something. And then now all of a sudden you saw the label. And so then you actually start believing that there's such a thing as black crime. And black on black crime. And then you have to even say it yourself. Tell you what you try to do. Say, my neighborhood where I live is not a ghetto. Say that over and over and over. And then actually go out there and plant some flowers in your neighborhood. Actually get everybody to pick up all the paper and all the bottles. And guess what your neighborhood will not be?
Yeah.
But now as long as you say, my neighborhood is a ghetto, guess what it's going to always be? Yeah. Guess what? Because they said in the beginning was the Word, and then they said eventually that the Word took flesh. It manifested. It actually came into being. And who did they say was talking? Who did they say was talking? Oh, God was talking. Well, I think God is talking when I'm hearing you. Now all you have to do, God, is make it be what you want it to be. It's real simple. Now you're right. You're right. If God is something other than you, then it's going to be what that God wants it to be. And if that God wants it to be a ghetto, and if you're convinced that that God got the power, guess what it's going to be? It's going to be a ghetto. But the minute you take on the action of God, and you do what God does, because that's the only way God can get it done, is if you get up off your ass and do it. You keep sitting there, then I guess God is sitting on his ass, and that's not God. The minute God gets up off his ass and gets it done, guess what? Thy will be done. Who is the devil? It's real simple. Who the devil is any diabolical, ignorant person that wants to maintain ignorance. That's the devil. And you know what's been around me more than any of these so-called white people that are so-called devils? You know, y'all always talk about the white man and the devil. The ones been around me, they ain't been so-called white people. They've been some real diabolical folks up in my face, and they say they black folks. Now wait a minute, see what I'm saying? She said, what is the devil? Everybody here knows what the word for devil is, right? Well, devil is how you say it either in French or German. Devil is the German, devil is the French. And then by the time some old dummies that was growing some cotton and tobacco over here in the Americas said the word, it came out devil because they couldn't pronounce the vowel correctly. Devil. So the mispronunciation came up, devil. But you're actually saying devil, which is the French, or devil. Okay, I'll try that. Good. Very smart. Is this it? What is it? V? What? How do you spell veil? V-E-I-L? Is that veil? Oh, de, which is French, the veil, right? Oh, wait a minute. Let me change these vowels around just a little bit. E-V-I-L, I think you're saying the evil. Oh, what is evil? Evil is darkness. It's a veil over the prevents you from seeing. But wait a minute, the correct word in Spanish that got translated was diablos. See, when you open up a Bible and you read a Bible in Latin, the word is diablos. But what is diablos? Because when I look at it, diablos is actually the opposite of you see that one? Symbol. What is a symbol? That is a symbol. What makes it a ball? Because it's round, it's a ball. B-O-L in Espanol or Latin, B-A-L, B-A-L-L in English. It's a ball. And sim is together. And so when it's 360 degrees, it is together. And when we split that 360 degrees, then it becomes a diabol. And when it gets to be an ignorant nigga, it is diabolical. And you now have the presence of diablos. And that is the devil. Every time one of them that tries to keep these babies from learning something, you're looking at the devil. Every time they sit on the board of education and try to keep your children from thinking, you're looking at the devil. That is a manifestation of the devil. And the devil created them in their image up there in Kentucky and in Natchez and Angola. They didn't come out of Nigeria. I don't know what y'all think about. And besides that, Nigeria is an English word, not an African word. Nigeria, the word was created by an Englishman. It's not an African word. And you know, again, I asked y'all about what's the two languages I want out of Ghana. I think one is the Akan Twi, tree, and the other one is Ga. You know, that. You know, Twi is one language and Ga is the other. And then if I'm speaking, I'm saying hello, and Ga. And then you learn Tweed. I want y'all to learn Yoruba and Igbo and every other language that you can learn. How many languages can you learn? How many languages do you think you can learn?
You can shake it all the way.
How many languages do you think you can learn? I'm talking, what's your name? How many languages do you think you can learn? Pick 3. He said 3. Good. I hope one of them might be one of the languages off the continent. Good. 3. Which 3 would you like to learn first? French, Spanish, Japanese, Chinese, what? Why you keep looking over there? Who's over there? Nobody. I go for that. Yeah. But anyway, you're not over there. Quit looking over there. You handling this. How old are you now?
10.
Trust me, 10, you late the game. You really too old to be depending on somebody over there. At 10, you got to be taking care of things. You might have to pay the bills before you look around. 10 years old and worried about what dad's going to say. All right, 10, right? Now, what languages are you going to... Wait, what's your name, girl? I've seen you before. Haven't I met you before? Me? That one. That little one right there. I've met her before. She's been here before?
This is our first time. Do you hear John?
You know? Yeah, I've been
You
down
probably
there.
saw us over there.
Oh, okay. What's your name, girl? What? Somi?
Zoe.
Zoe or Zoe?
Zoe.
Zoe, good, Zoe, I like that. What languages do you want to learn, Zoe? French? Spanish, what? I tell you what, I will show you how to learn a language. And once I show you, will you teach yourself the language? If I show you how to do it, you'll do it? I'm not even worried about it. She says she'll do it, I bet you. If she gives me your word is good, right? I ain't worried about it. We got this. And where we leave off? What are we doing? Oh, wait a minute, 6 times 85, how much is that? That'll take you too long. What's 6 times 8? How much 6 times 8? 480. That's 480. So what I asked you, 6 times 8 is what? 5. All right, 6 times 5 is what?
30.
So 480 and 30 is what?
5.
Wow, y'all didn't reach for no pencils, no papers, no computers, nothing. And if you could do that with just that, then over a period of time, when I ask you what is 6 times 999, zip, what is 5 times 9,045,000, 480, whatever we're doing, you can get it. Now, wait a minute. You gotta practice. If I ask you to practice, I show you how to practice, will you start practicing? If I show you what to practice, will you start practicing? Will you teach your father the alphabet? You will? If I show you how? All right. Well, first of all, you better ask your father. Ask your father, does he want to learn the alphabet?
He's not my son. I've been trying to get that to you for like the last 15 minutes or so. That ain't my son.
Is that your nephew?
Yes, my
Then that's
nephew.
your son. The way we work this, no uncles, no aunties, no cousins, none of that. All of them are supposed to be brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. Now, I don't know nothing about that half nothing. I don't know nothing about that step nothing. Step on what? Half what? Which half? Top half, bottom half. It's a brother or a sister or it's nothing. Just that simple. If it's not relative to you, then it's not relative to you. If it's your brother, your sister, that's what it is. I don't care who they walked out of or who put them up in there. I don't really care. It's not important. What difference does it make? If they are brothers and sisters, then they are brothers and sisters. If you are uncles and aunts, stop being uncles and aunts and be mothers and fathers. So even the uncles and the aunts are now mothers and fathers. You ain't got time for no nieces and nephews and cousins. These are your children. And if you do not look at them like they're your children, then don't look at them. Stop looking at them. But quit lying. I've been watching them lie on this kid how many of y'all been watching TV over the last few weeks?
Oh, yes.
Haven't you been watching them lie?
Yes.
They've had this kid up everywhere lying. Why were they lying? Stand up, boy. Why were they lying? Didn't you watch? You don't remember him? You didn't see him on TV? You don't watch TV then? He's been all on TV. Did you watch the president when he was speaking in Booker T. Washington?
No, I missed that.
You missed that one. You go on my site and look at it then. All right. When the president came, he introduced the president, didn't he?
Yes.
That was the young man that was on the TV. On every channel. And every Negro in America been claiming that they're responsible for what these kids did. I said, some land going on here. You understand me? And guess what? What if we take this young man here? Where is she? And that young lady there. And this young man here. Where is that little one? And that young, what if we take all of these little ones? Ivan and
Zoe.
Zoe? I get that right? What if we take them and we actually make some geniuses come up out of here? Everybody's gonna be running to take credit, ain't they? The Board of Education gets 90 million. The mayor gets 100 million. Everybody gets money. But nobody worries about doing anything relative to what these kids need done. And what they need done is make sure that they're prepared not to go to 201 poverty. Because they going now, guess who's going just as fast as little boys? They're building new girls' prisons now. I wonder why they're building them. Whose girls they intend to put in there? Come on, y'all, help me out here. If they're building a prison, they intend to put somebody in, don't they? Well, do they intend to put their children in? That's what I'm asking. Whoever's building, are any of y'all building a prison?
No.
Y'all not building any prisons. So whose children do you think they intend to put in those prisons they building? Somebody's children are going to go to those prisons.
More theirs going there also.
Huh?
More theirs are going there also.
Now?
Yes, sir.
Nowadays?
They're not, it's coming to where, just from what I see, it's coming to where it's not about color. It's about them that
I'm
got,
so glad
them
you said
that don't.
that. Because see, in this room,
Yeah.
believe this or not, in this room, this has never been about color.
Right.
Not in this room. See, the last, you know what? I don't take care for white people. But you know who I really don't like worse than I don't like white people? Niggas. Black people. Now, you can call them niggas if you want to. I didn't call them niggas. But most, you know, it's weird because I had somebody stand up right here in this room and say, Mr. Black, what should we call ourselves? Does anybody remember this?
Yes.
Oh, you do remember this?
Yes, I do.
You know what I was thinking when she said that? What should we call ourselves?
Yeah.
Nigga, call yourself what you been calling yourself. What did we do? Why should you ask me? What should we call ourselves? I think that our children should learn to call themselves what they are. They are not humans. Not my babies. I ain't got time to be no human. Why y'all want to be a human? Oh, I know. You want them to sing the song. I'm only human.
We're just ordinary people.
Ain't that something? Y'all remember the song, I'm only human? Want y'all all bopping to that? I'm only human. Well, I don't want my kids thinking they're only human. If that's all they got to work with, they ain't working with nothing. Humans been messing this thing up every step of the way. Now everybody keeps telling me that the one thing that makes this thing all work is what? Humans make it work? I ain't seen a human make it work yet. The only thing I know that everybody keeps saying that makes it work is what?
God.
Wow.
Well, you know what? Since God make it work, then that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm trying to help develop. You say Imhotep, huh? You know, he was relative to Akhenaten. Akhenaten's Hebrew name was Kyle. Isn't that something? And the next thing I know, I'm growing up and I'm reading the comic book, and the name of Superman is what? Kyle. Isn't that something? El means what? That's right. And Ka means what? Breath. And so we have the breath of God. And joy was the power of God. Isn't that something? You mean to tell me I've had Superman in my face all the time, but then everybody says she can't be Superman because she's a girl. She's a woman. Wait a minute now, let's see. Does man have anything to do with male and female? I will bet you that man is both of those genders. You see, this is man, but the only way you can be man is that you are thinking reasonably. You are using the mind. If you're not using the mind, then you are not man. Because I think the plural of man is men, and man is the root of mental, and man means mind. And if they're not thinking, then there's no mind there. Then there must be a humanoid. Now, I think it was created in Kentucky. But that's it.
Thank you.
I ain't go to Louisiana. Definitely didn't come off the continent. Yes, sir.
You mentioned mind, and it just brought me back to the discussion we had earlier, the location of mind, where it is.
It's not in the brain.
Not in the brain.
Okay.
Okay, where is the location?
Who you asking?
Nobody knows.
You asking?
I'm asking you, you know.
Well, all I know is this. I know it's a big universe out here, and we're on a spaceship traveling in a solar system that is traveling in a universe.
That's right.
Lot of things going on out here in space. I don't know exactly where we are in space. All I know is that I am because we are, thou art because this is. That's all I know.
That's right.
The rest of it, I don't have a clue. Where's the mind? Who you asking? Fraud? Y'all read all that fraud, right? Oh, Freud. I thought they said fraud. You asking Maslow and Durkheim? You asking where the mind is, right? Oh, I know who you should ask. You should ask those people who did that evaluation during your child in public school. Y'all do know that each one of these children has an evaluation that they've been doing, and they update the evaluation every single year on every child in the system. You do know that, right? Yeah, there's a folder that they keep on all of your children. Yeah, it's an evaluation. It is a psychological evaluation that they keep on your children. Why do they need this psychological evaluation? Now, why don't you know about it? Since we know where the mind is, since the mind is in the brain. But guess what? I don't know where this planet is. It's out here in space. I don't really know. But I'll tell you what I think I might know. What I might know is the day we were talking about geniuses and genies, weren't we? Right?
Yes, sir.
Who's a genius? Come on. Raise your hand if you think you're a genius. Who's a genius? Here's a genius over here. Here's a genius right here. There's a genius back there. Ivan, you're a genius. Well, Ivan, what is a genius? What is what? Oh, so that's what you got out the dictionary when you looked it up, right? That is what you got out of the dictionary when you looked it up, right? I'm asking you a question. No. Oh, okay, well, how do you know what a genius is? How do you know what a genius is? What? How do you know that? Wait a minute, does anyone else here think that a genius is a smart person? Yes, you a genius? What's a genius? Well, so you looked it up in the dictionary? Well, how do you know that? Yeah, but how did you use your brain to come up with that? And then you never looked it up.
That's the idea that they give us.
You know what? Look, they even got our babies acting like this. These are our children. We cannot let this continue. How does he know what a genius is? He's never looked. Did someone tell you what a genius is? You just figured it out. How did you figure it out? Were you watching TV one day? Did maybe you figure it out off the TV? Get my drift. Some kind of way that thought is in the brain. How did the thought get there? Y'all watching Inception? That is a mental technology. Somebody's planting thoughts into brains. Like you told me, the young man down here told me the mind is in the brain. Well, then you looked it up, you don't see mind anywhere. So how did it get into your brain? That thought. It had to be planted there. How?